Which company will never see your money again? At the time, they were the only internet provider near me, live in a rural area. I then found a new home, and since I was still under contract, I took my internet service with me. Once I'd learned that the local cable company had faster internet for the same price, I decided to jump ship. Trying to get out of a contract with them was like pulling teeth. Comcast. For years I have refused to move to places where they are the only cable internet option, and if they ever replace my current provider, I will either sell my house or live without internet. I had an account with them for about a year from 2009 to 2010, and that was enough bullet for the rest of my life. I had my own modem, but every month they charged a modem rental fee, and every month I called to resolve the billing discrepancy. Their customer service was atrocious, and every month the same issue would return. When I moved and went to cancel my service, they demanded that I return the modem that was never theirs in the first place. Then at the end of 2011, I moved with roommates back to a Comcast-only city, and since they wanted internet, I reluctantly agreed to pay part of the bill. Somehow when the problems started, I was the one who had to fight with customer service. Never again. Pizza Hut. I worked there from 2009 to 2017 as a side gig. Early last year, corporate sold most of the Houston stores to a franchisee. One company, RTL Foods, operate almost all the stores in the area now. After they took over, constant upper management duckups and payroll duckups started. It got to the point where our paychecks started bouncing. So I put them on blast on Pizza Hut's Facebook page. I asked if they could vet their franchisees a little better instead of just handing the keys to any hack frauds that say hi I heave money's Wad Leak Restaurant PLZ. They tried to suspend me, so I just quit instead. Now I don't eat there on principle. There it ain't that good anyway. Buffalo Wild Wings. Last August I did the Blazin' Challenge. 12 of their hottest wings in 6 minutes, after making sure they had the t-shirt prize in my size. The server assured me they did. Killed the challenge and then they tell me they don't have the shirt. After getting a few canned responses from social media customer service and another promise from the manager that she has found the shirt at another local store and will be mailing it to me, they straight up stopped replying and refused to take my calls. Now keep in mind, I signed a waiver saying they aren't responsible for injury and blah blah. But it also said that if I win I am entitled to the shirt and the wall of fame. Also they still make you pay for the challenge wings. You ducked me Buffalo Wild Wings, and you even made me pay for dinner first. There's an auto shop in my town that I paid $250 to balance 4 wheels and fix one bent rim. This whole process is maybe 1 hour of work. I'd know. I am a fully trained mechanic. I just don't have access to the required tools to do this work. They didn't balance all 4. I complained and went back. They balanced one more wheel that they made me guess was the issue. That wheel needed balancing. They balanced that wheel and sent me on my way. That wheel wasn't the only one not balanced. I still have at least one unbalanced wheel. 2 trips to balance 4 wheels and they couldn't do it. So basically I paid them $200 plus and spent 3 hours waiting across 2 trips for them to not do the 1 hour of work I paid them for. They're incompetent, stupid, lazy, and they ripped me off. Wheels in Annapolis MD is a dishonest shop and deserves to fail. Jiffy Lube. Took my car there for an oil change before a long haul trip across the country. Had an appointment with a dealership immediately afterwards because a part on warranty needed replacing. I am not entirely sure what happened in between, but after my oil change from Jiffy Lube, I drove down the street to the dealership and pulled up to the service garage. A representative immediately comes out, yelling at me and waving his hands. What were you thinking driving that thing up here like that? Why didn't you call us to get a tow? Confused, I step out of my car and approach him. He points behind me. Beneath the car, there is a puddle of blue, black, and yellow fluids leaking all over their nicely paved service entrance, with a trail leading down the street, right back to Jiffy Lube. My local liquor store after the employee remarked back again, as I entered. Bell Canada. Their service is crap. They're more expensive than third-party companies. They bait and switch their customers. They're anti-net neutrality. They're shady AF. InBev. They are the Nestle of the beer world. They actively seek legislation that hurts small breweries. They patent hops so other brewers, even home brewers, can't use them. They use corn syrup as a substitute for barley to save money in many beers such as Bud Light. I could go on and on about how terrible in bevies, but the worst of it is that no one tried to stop their acquisition of Anheuser-Busch, despite them being a foreign-owned multinational. All the Republicans that claim to be pro-America look the other way for bribe money. All the Democrats that pretend to love workers' rights look the other way. They let it happen. I didn't even like Anheuser-Busch as a company, but they were our itty beer company, out there but a zombie, controlled by someone else in a faraway land. I signed up to a kickboxing class which was cute 50 for 6 lessons. Their intention was to get people to pay for a membership. After those classes finished I rang them to sign up as I really enjoyed it. I was told someone would get back to me. They never did. I emailed them. Never got a reply. I went in and left my details with a guy who said the manager would give me a call. He didn't. I rang again and was told someone would get back to me. You guessed it. They did not. They won't see my money because they clearly don't want it. Comcare. Never mind. My bill is due. Facebook. Ducking disabled my ads account, which was understandable, but also on returning the amount of money which I have added to my ad balance. Ticketmaster. Glorified ticket touts. Electronic Arts. Duckosium. eBay PayPal. Thieving scumbags. EA. After the loot box controversy, it was almost believable that they would learn their lesson. But after the announcement yesterday that they're essentially gonna just circumvent legislation and regulation rather than being pro-consumer, yeah, they can duck off. AAA. I was in an accident a couple of years ago and instead of paying out, like what you'd expect an insurance company to do, they cancelled my policy. My dad and I share the same name, so they claimed that my dad was insuring my car and used that as an excuse to claim fraud and cancel my policy. Spirit Airlines. Anyone who's flown with them will understand why. Dr. Martens. There was a time when a pair of docks would last 2 years, but then they moved production to China and the quality just took a nosedive. They would start cracking and tearing after just a few months. Sears. They sold me an expensive vacuum cleaner that lasted less than 1 year with normal use. It wouldn't suck the cat hair from the furniture. Moreover, they wouldn't replace or exchange the defective unit I bought. Had an issue with Blur Apron where they mispackaged some potatoes and then blamed me for not knowing to refrigerate them. When I contacted CS, who the hell refrigerates potatoes? Next week went by and I got more stupidly packed potatoes and noticed the plastic bag it came in didn't say to refrigerate. All their must be refrigerated packages have a label saying so. Took like 3 weeks to settle an issue with rotting potatoes seeping and leaking all over other food items settled. Duck that. A year of loyal weekly service down the drain and now HelloFresh has my business. Economy. What they did to Kojima was unacceptable and it's baffling to me that these practices are becoming more commonplace in the industry. Also, their treatment of the Metal Gear and Silent Hill franchises makes me want to gag. Papa John's. Blithering tourspats. This random little restaurant across the street from my office. I walked in one day to get a late lunch, as I had many times, and apparently they'd just changed their policy that they stopped serving food from 2 PM to 4 PM. There were no signs anywhere. The person behind the bar, who was also the owner, barked at me. We don't serve food right now, so what do you want? He had a rich ass attitude so he can keep going without any of my money or business. Asshole. Bank of America. I've literally never opened an account with them, but I've closed 4 or 5. Wells Fargo. Bank of America. Pizza Hut. A stupid minor one. But the nearest Taco Bell. It's maybe a year or so old and the first 3-6 months was great, quick, accurate, etc. Then something changed. I'm guessing corporate trainers left or something, and everything went to it almost immediately. Speed sucks. Order accuracy sucks. I've even paid for things and not received them several times. I gave it a couple of months and tried one more time and it was still terrible. I don't know if a good manager left and a manager came in or what. I don't have high expectations for fast food, but Jesus. Their Yelp reviews are even all terrible now, even by the standard of other fast food joints. Razor. Every single product I have ever purchased from them broke on its own. Two mice started to get this thing where I'd be using it, then let go of the mouse to type, and the cursor would slowly creep towards the bottom left corner of the screen. I also had a keyboard that started double clicking characters when I'd only click them once. I'm winning a cable now that Google Fiber is available at my house. Having Google Fiber has been the most pleasant experience ever. No letters in the mail asking me to upgrade to phone TV. No throttling. No bullet. And actually smart technicians that have solid answers when I call them on the phone. Duck TWC. Telstra. Not directly anyway. I even didn't get the landline connected. People just view Telstra as expensive these days, but they used to be dodgy as hell in the early 2000s and late 90s with massive issues of overcharging every Tom, Dick and Harry sum for years and they didn't even know. I myself got a $2,000 phone bill that I had to fight tooth and nail not to pay, and they were real jerks about it. This was well before any of the caps they have these days. It still annoys me thinking about it now. Best Buy. RIP Future Shop. I went in looking for an external battery pack to charge my phone. I found one listed for half price of $30, so I grabbed it and went up the till. It rang up at full price, $60. I told the cashier that it was listed as half off. Well, she calls her manager to go check the price tag. Keep in mind the place I grabbed the charger from was just out of view, but I could see the top of the manager's head and she was at the spot where I grabbed the charger. So 5 or so minutes go by and she gets a call back from her manager who tells her to have me show her where it was listed, and if it is listed to give it to me for that price. I take her over and, of course, the sale price had been removed. I told her I saw the manager back there and that she had removed the sale tag. She ended up giving it to me for half off but said off the next time make sure you grab it from the right rack. Shocked by her attitude, I had her return the item immediately and haven't stepped foot in there since. Duck you Best Buy. God, Bungie is doing a great job at keeping me away from their product. FedEx. They offended me when one of their drivers caused me to get into an accident and to thank me fled the scene. Reported to FedEx they did not give a duck since he didn't actually crash into me. Chevy. Those commercials are repulsive. HP. Bought a laptop from them a few years ago. Arrived without Wi-Fi capability. Tried to fix the problem myself by updating drivers, etc. When that didn't work, I asked customer service about it. They said it couldn't be their fault, so if I wanted it repaired I'd have to pay them full price to do so. Duck that it. I could still use an Ethernet cable, so I did that. A few months later the casing broke at the hinge. Like the hinge had absolutely shredded itself. Purling bottom and top casings half an inch apart. A year after that even the Ethernet cable wouldn't allow it to get online. And didn't work unless the laptop had like a 1cm gap between the screen and keyboard. Literally all of this would have been avoided if they just would have owned up to the fact that maybe something got ducked up on their end and checked it out. But instead I refused to buy any of their stuff again. I won't be the only one to post these guys, I'm sure. HRB Lock is just a massive heap of a company. My wife and I always had a friend do our taxes for us, but this year he wasn't able to. So we go to HR Block. We met with a manager at a pop-up branch in the Bay location. We were told our cost was $150. We agreed, gave her the documents and carried on our way. We came back from dinner or shopping or whatever and she passed us an invoice for $700. We refused to pay, and that's when she says she already filed the taxes and we have signed the paperwork so we would have to pay. Told her it wouldn't happen and thanks for doing them for free. She then explained she would cancel the work she did if we didn't pay. Argued back and forth over the price and we refused to go up any more from the $150 we were originally told. We were told the manager was out and would phone us. I never received a call. Despite my wife and I each phoning the branch and corporate numbers on multiple occasions over the course of a month. I did receive my tax refund though, so I'm assuming you'll never hear from them again. And it'll never darken their doorstep again as well. I can't believe no one has mentioned Tim Hortons. I used to work in the wine industry and really love wine. My favorite varietal for years has been Zinfandel, red, not white. and I found one called Nana's Shortcake that I adore so much that I've literally brought it to multiple friends' houses just to spread the love. Found out today the brand is shutting down and all wines are being pulled because the juggernaut wine brand Layer Cake is suing them. Why? Because they have the name Cake in their name and Nana's is a small enough label they can't afford to fight it. So duck Layer Cake. I'm never giving them my money. Business tactics like that are sickening. Panera. You know how sandwiches always taste better when someone else makes them? Panera never got the memo. I'll pay for overpriced food but I know I can make a better sandwich than that.